Welcome back to the Clubhouse episode, everybody. We're just debating. Obviously, we're now starting to potentially video these and put them out on the channel. And normally, Clubhouse was meant to be audio only. This is genuinely where we were meant to not have any trousers on. We were supposed to just be chilling out, lying on the desk if we wanted to. I remember the first episode. You had your feet up, you had your top off.
Yep.
You were smoking.
I was. I had a little moustache as well. I never smoked, but I had a little moustache. I don't know how I grew that, but I did. A little moustache.
And then all of a sudden, then we're now here in the studio. We've got the cameras. Like, why don't we film it?
Yeah.
But then Ed and Ben, who are off camera, if they chat, and they do.
We do.
Hi. Good day. And why do I go Australian? We can't see them, so we need to get a camera, unless it's just mystery.
Why don't they then, when they are talking, the camera has to be on you and me, so we just pull really cool faces like this. So,
like Zoolander.
We have like little masks.
Yeah.
Like
We'll fix it. But I've got a question for you, Rick, and I'd like you guys to answer as well. Might be a different story for Ed versus for Ben, because for those who don't know, Ed has played golf since he was knee-high to a grasshopper, whereas Ben has played golf a lot more recently.
Two perspectives then.
So there's two perspectives. Rick has played golf since he was knee-high to an elephant, but not quite as long. Norman Crook, which is almost Norman Cook, who is Fatboy Slim. But it's Norman Crook, not Norman Cook.
But it could be Norman Cook.
With a little burner.
This is his alias.
Correct. He says, Rick, what were your dream set of golf clubs when you were a teenager but couldn't afford? I've recently built that set for myself. Now, annoyingly, it doesn't then tell us what that set was, which I'd love to have known, Norman. But I remember this, Rick. I was very fortunate as a junior. I got to play a lot of golf as a member of a golf club. But I wasn't spoiled, so I couldn't just go, I want a new set of clubs and get them. It was through winning competitions, or it might be one at Christmas every now and again. There was lots of clubs I wanted and didn't get. I bet you were the same. Talk to me.
I got everything I wanted.
Surprise.
No, I'm joking. I didn't. The first thing I remember getting, I kind of wanted something a little bit better. So it was around when Callaway biggest Big Bertha things were around, and I remember really, really desperate wanting like the biggest Big Bertha.
Yeah.
And at the time, we need to find out actually how big that head was. I bet it's only like 350 cc,
max,
probably a mini driver size now. But at the time, it was the biggest driver you could possibly ever buy, and we couldn't get one, couldn't afford one. Obviously, it was expensive, and I remember at the same time, steelhead drivers came out.
Correct.
And I got a Callaway steelhead driver for £150. The head now, let's be honest, is like the size of a 3-wood.
Oh, yeah.
That night, I actually slept with it in my bed. I actually took it to bed and slept with my brand new Callaway steelhead driver.
Yeah.
I was 25 years old. But I reckon at the time I was probably maybe 13 or 14. Maybe even 12, and it was just like the greatest thing ever. And even though it wasn't the dream driver I wanted, it was the next best thing. It was brand new. It had the furry head coverage.
Yes, I remember. I can completely see it now.
And it was just glorious. I absolutely loved it.
You know what I had then? Very similar, but not quite the same. I don't know if you remember this. I was one of the best clubs I ever had as a junior. I was so lucky to get. Was a Callaway. You ready for this? Little Bertha.
Is that like the kids?
It was the kids version. It was essentially exactly what you're saying. It was a steelhead, but it was a drive for children. And it was Little Bertha. And I was exactly the same. I absolutely idolised that golf club. And I wish I still had it today. But that was kind of, as a junior, it was very much a case of just getting your hands on gear to play with. And then when you got really into it, like to what you're saying then, and you wanted things that you I think the first one for me that I did end up getting, but it took a long, long time, was the Odyssey 2 ball.
Yes.
They came out and they were 149 quid, I think, 139 quid, which back then was a lot of money, more than it is kind of today. And obviously it's how inflation works. And I remember just wanting one, just wishing I could have one, and didn't have one for a long, long time. That, and I think the TaylorMade R7 quad were two that I was desperate to get my hands on.
I'm much more remembering of drivers and putters now. And the irons.
Yeah, I'm the same, 100%.
Well, like,
irons, I just wanted blades.
Yeah, and it didn't really matter what irons I had.
Yeah, I think I'm in the similar. I think your irons were just kind of irons, weren't they?
The only other ones as well that I remember saving up a lot for. Sorry if you can hear the wolf dog above us. What is it? A husky?
Husky.
It's a monster dog
beast.
we've got above us. like as in the room above us, not above us, was I really, really, really wanted Cobra Trusty Rusties.
Yes, I remember
wedges.
Yeah.
And they were honestly absolutely.
Do you remember
that one picture with Ricky Fowler out the bunker? I remember that.
Yeah, and that was it. That's all you needed.
This is all you
Oh,
wanted.
yeah, but this is well pre Ricky Fowler we're talking about.
Oh, this
Trusty
is.
Rusties. They come back.
No, they were
yeah.
well. They were out. We're talking like 98 here. I remember when as well they were odd degrees, so they were 51, 53,
55 and 57,
Yeah.
59. Yeah.
yeah.
Old school.
Because I remember I went to America with my family in 1998, I think it was, and my brother came back with a wedge, and he was either going to get a Vokey or a Trusty Rusty, because that's how big Cobra at the time, and I think he came back with the Vokey in the end. But that was really the era of like Trusty
People
Rusty.
asking, going, why have you got a Vokey?
Yeah.
I've not got a Trusty Rusty.
And you know what's mad though?
I love the
This was
Trusty
how much
Rusties
golf
so
has
much.
changed in 19.
I'm just looking at pictures now, and the Trusty Rusties are so good.
I remember coming back from America with a kid's junior FootJoy glove and being absolutely over the moon with it because I had a junior golf glove, and that was just something in England that you just could not buy.
you know, all joking aside, and Ed will probably remember this as well. I was actually just grateful for trousers that would fit me.
Waterproofs were impossible.
Like, just as a kid, just actually having clothing that was acceptable, it was considered cool and actually fit.
School
that.
pants.
That's all I pretty much wore. Going to the golf club was school trousers, school
Yeah.
shoes, because at the time you'd have to wear smart shoes to go in the clubhouse. And then I probably just had like a couple of Nike tops, and that was pretty much my golf wardrobe, really.
Yeah.
But now, like, if you're a kid now, you can get how good is the clothing now?
It's the clubs as well.
The clubs are unbelievable. What junior clubs would you have now?
Ping Prodigy. Oh, they pull Prodigy, I think.
There's Prodigy and Moxie. I think Moxie are the tiny
I think
ones.
let's have a look.
I think those tailor-made ones look pretty good with the Rory head cover.
You know what's mad though? So listen to this, and this is a good thing, but people will take it the wrong way. The Ping Junior full set at 900 quid.
Oh my god!
Now, but hear me out. This is going to go. This is a Ping Prodigy ones. I think they do the Moxie as well. The reason that they are so expensive, I spoke to Ping about this before actually, we were thinking about doing a video on it, but obviously it didn't quite work, is that they literally are as good as adults clubs, but shorter. So if you are like a really, really elite junior and you're 12 years old and you're playing like for England or you're playing for your county or whatever it might be, and you want serious performance, normally you would have had to get men's stuff or lady stuff cut down and altered, which would affect the swing weights and affect the balance. These Ping Prodigy clubs apparently are literally the real deal, but shorter. Obviously, that doesn't mean that if you've got a junior that plays golf, you have to go and spend £900 on clubs. Of course you don't. There's many, many, many cheaper options. But that just caters for that super, super elite junior.
And don't you get, I think you get a free reshafting at a certain age as well.
I believe you do. So I think you buy them for that price, and then I think you get one time where you can then make them essentially bigger. So
No
they
charge.
should last you. If a normal set would last you 18 months or 2 years, these should last you 4 years.
Sounded like a Ping club advertisement.
No, but
it's not meant to be.
It's not. It's just good that they do it.
Go on then, Ed. What are the dream? Because I reckon.
Yeah, definitely that Titleist 975D for the titanium.
Oh,
That
yes.
was, I think, because
Past
my
your
brother
time.
had it. I just got all my brother's hand-me-downs. I never got any new clubs, but they were always quite good.
975.
I love that driver, yeah.
What a driver! Seriously. Any other clubs?
Cleveland irons were
Cleveland irons
and wedges
and
came in.
drivers.
Yeah, they came
Everything
in.
Cleveland was huge.
That one with the dip in the back of the driver.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
has the high
core or
high ball or
high
XL,
ball.
I think.
Yeah.
That was stunning.
And then Ben, considering you've only playing golf for the last few years, what
Yeah,
clubs
I'm
do you want
like,
now?
yeah.
What club did you want growing up?
I feel like I know nothing.
Like when we're talking about like a Titleist 905D, do you know what it even looks like?
No, but I can imagine it just from like spending time in your storeroom. There's got all sorts of stuff in there, like all the old stuff.
I feel like I need some more stuff in there, like some actual proper classics.
The problem is, though, and you've got this problem, is that when you go to like an amazing golf shop where they've got a second-hand section, or in particular Octoloni's in St Andrews where the second-hand store is phenomenal, if you've grown up playing golf, or even if you've not, but if you've got an affinity to older clubs, it's so almost addictive to want to buy them. And in reality, you're probably never going to really play with
I
them.
know, but still.
But there's something about having them, isn't there? And if it's one that you couldn't have.
Do you remember that that simulator bar we went to down in London.
Yeah,
my
Urban
word.
Golf.
And that guy in the back,
James Urban Golf, yeah.
how good was his collection?
Well, it's a
So
little
that's
bit.
what I want.
It's a little bit like if you ever watch these. You ever watch sneaker shopping with that? What's it called? Joe
Yeah.
LaPuma, is it something it's
Yeah.
called? Complex. They often interview celebrities and talk about the trainer collections and stuff. And a lot of celebrities buy so many pairs of trainers because when they were growing up, they couldn't afford to. Obviously, so they might have had one pair they had to wear forever or whatever. And it's a bit like that, I think, with golf. If you grew up and you couldn't quite get all the clubs you wanted, which is probably most juniors, and then you get older and you suddenly can afford them and you can see them cheap at second hand. There's so many clubs. I'd love to have like an R7 quad now.
Would love to use like those old clubs, but have like a casual handicap where I only use that handicap on like a Sunday.
Yeah.
That'd be quite fun. Imagine if it was better than your actual handicap.
Yeah, because I'm so much more relaxed.
How much more fun though would sorry, to that point though, would golf be if obviously you might have it once a year where your golf club might have a 4-club challenge or something
Yeah, we
different.
have that.
But actually, like so much of golf is obviously 18 holes, either stroke play or Stableford, and you're obviously using the best gear that you can use, whatever. But if golf clubs had more games like that, where maybe there was like a hickory week, I know they'd have to have a lot of infrastructure to have all the clubs, or like there was more 3-club challenges or whatever it might be, where you're playing with different gear.
Yeah. And the other one I've just remembered, I'm just looking at, do you remember the 983K driver?
I had it.
Titleist one.
Had it.
That was so good. Was that the one that borderline was illegal?
They did one that was illegal, I think, and then they had it was called a high core. They did the 983K high core,
And then the 905R. In
Yeah.
fact, I've got one of them.
and there was Ness and a T, I think, as well.
Titleist did, honestly, the
Titleist
drivers.
The other thing as well that I kind of miss, and we're looking back here very much with rose tinted glasses, but back then there was no internet, or it was very very new. So you didn't really see golf clubs till they actually came out.
No.
And it felt like they had a much longer lifespan as well. So new stuff was really like, it was in the golf magazines. It was very newsworthy when brands did things that were different and that were new. Whereas now, I think because of the fact of life cycles and stuff, it feels that stuff's out so much quicker.
Yeah.
Did you ever gamble any of your golf clubs on like putting comps or
100%.
matches? Because that was the best.
100.
No, I never went down that route.
The amount of clubs I lost and gained in
Yeah.
those little stupid challenges. I remember sometimes leaving the golf club and going back home and like, I kind of need a new putter.
Yeah,
I don't have a
it was
putter. I
always
don't have a
before
putter anymore. But then other times I'd come back with 3 putters. Yeah, we used to gamble clubs all
Yeah.
the time on stupid chipping comps or putting comps. Or
Yeah.
it was so good.
What would you say? Because obviously, again, you've both been junior golfers. Sorry, Ben, I know you're not really including this too much, but what are the 3 things that playing golf as a junior, good things, values that it instills? Because a lot of people listening who maybe aren't juniors, obviously, but they might have children who are thinking about getting into golf or whatever. What would you say you've benefited from in your adult life from playing golf?
So many things. My brother actually posted something on LinkedIn relating junior golf with his like financial like goals in life, and it's like the patience that you have to have when you're a junior golfer. Dealing with bad shots is similar with like going through a tough time financially in the stock market. You have to navigate your way through it. It's definitely stuff, and etiquette is just the biggest part that I can carry on with through life the rest of my life. Like, so honestly, it's ridiculous how much it's valued.
Yeah. I think even like the simple things like, shaking hands. I learned that at such a young age.
Taking your hat off.
Taking your hat off, shaking hands. And I remember certain times where I'd do it when I was like 16, 17. And certainly like the job interviews and things, I think it really holds so much value. I remember when I first joined, when I was assistant pro at Mia, and like the first, as soon as a new member would walk in, look at them in the eye, shake their hands, and it was almost quite commented on how good my handshake was. It sounds like a daft thing, but that got taught. I remember lads who similar age to me who hadn't lived in the golf world, they wouldn't have known how to do any of that.
Yeah. What would you say? And I agree on both. I think the etiquette one is a big thing, and understand how to speak to adults from a young age is a massive one. Do you think there's any, from you two who spent a lot of time in golf, from being young and obviously me included, are there any negatives, would you say, from being a junior golfer?
That's quite hard to be fair.
I think it is. I think the only thing for me, probably growing up, is I was quite, as most juniors are, quite naive and thinking, I can be a golfer, and I was nowhere near good enough. And maybe I think balancing time with friends as a youngster or doing other sports maybe would have made me even more rounded than just giving everything to golf. And probably even maybe even taking that to one step though, set to the side, is actually how, and this is hard to measure and manage, but how much I cared. Like, I cared far too much.
Yeah.
Like,
Amount of times I came home crying my eyes out because I'd had a bad round of golf.
I remember being on holiday with my mum and dad in Spain or wherever it would be, and at the time had a mobile phone. All it could do was text and call, but texting friends asking what they'd done in the junior comp because I was gutted I'd missed out, and then hearing that such a body had come down by a stroke and think, oh, he's close to my handicap now, and it was like my whole life was revolved around my handicap or who won the junior comp.
Definitely the anger part is I definitely regret getting so angry all the time because you just care so much, don't you?
Well, again, the one I used to think it really kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, but I remember school holidays, just knowing that I'd be somewhere. I had somewhere to go. I love school holidays. Like, it was, I can just go to the golf club every single minute of every day. Where I know a lot of my other friends kind of had nothing else to do and they kind of just hung around the streets causing trouble. Yeah. I had somewhere to go, which was nice.
With that being the history then, going forward, and this is where, Ben, you can certainly jump back in here. I feel like my golf game is never, being honest now, this isn't a good thing to admit, but I don't think it's ever going to get better than it has been when I was younger because I'm never going to practice as much as I used to as a junior. I don't care enough about my golf game as much as I did when I was a junior. And I'm not going to play as much as I did when I was a junior. So I feel like, albeit not the highest of peaks, but I've already peaked. And that was when I was, in fact, saying younger, it was probably when I was about 22 and I was just left university and had about a summer of playing a lot and was shooting like a round level par, got down to like nearly 2.6 was my lowest in the old money handicap system. I don't think I'll ever get that good again, which is not great to admit, but I think it's true. What about you, Ben? Where do you see your golf getting to from where you are now? And same for you, Ed.
You know what? When I first got into golf, my missus and my mates were like, oh, here we go, like another, sort of like jumping around sports and hobbies and stuff. But, when I first moved here, I played like a lot of soccer, aka football in Australia. Then I moved here. Well, I played cricket in Australia, but I played cricket here. And then I got into golf here. But golf is like the one sport I feel it's like you feel like you're constantly chasing it. And that's what I love most about it. And that part for me is like really exciting that I like look forward to on a Saturday when the reason I dropped cricket was how my day went was sort of almost in the hands of the captain, oh, you were going to bat here, you were going to bowl here, and I sort of like got a bit sick of that after a while. I sort of like wanted to be in charge of like how things went in a way. So yeah, got into golf that way. But it's great. I love that sort of thrill, amazing that you can sort of have these trends where you sort of play on a Saturday in a comp and you go, wow, like, right, things are sort of coming together. I have like no swing thoughts. I'm playing really well. And then you can go out. Even sometimes I'll play really well on the Saturday and I'll go back out the Sunday because it was so good. And then you completely forget how to hit a golf ball on the Sunday. So I'm at a 13.1 at the moment, but it's just like the thrill of trying to get down to single digits is like, that's so exciting for me. And just like, even, I think I shot, my lowest score was like a 7 over. And for me, that was just like, get me back out there, and I find my friends as well.
If I practice 8 hours a day, I could just make it out on tour.
But you know what's mad?
I could be part of the Rippers in no time.
I mean,
to Ben's point though, then my sensible head, which I've just elaborated on, thinks that and knows that really, in reality, I will never get better than I have been. But I've just said all that. As soon as I get to the driving range before I'm playing golf, or a couple hours before. And I'm thinking, actually, if I swing, there's no reason why I couldn't shoot 200 today. Like, it's always there, isn't it?
Well, later down in life when your kids will get a bit older and you'll have a bit more free time and I fancy joining the golf club again and suddenly you are playing like...
Bernard Langer can do it.
If Mr. Langer can do it, so can you.
Yeah. I'd love to get into like 0 point something. That'd just be awesome. But
what's your handicap now?
2.1.
I feel like you're better than 2.
Yeah. I'm living in the city. I'm living the busy life. Gotta get out to
It's a womanizer.
He scores plenty of birdies, but not out on the golf course. In town. Right.
Last thing though on that, and that's something I think everyone should take, is that with golf, it is the game that genuinely you can play for a long period of your life. And when you see you do get some really good, solid senior golfers who don't hit it a mile, but hit it down the fairway, get on the green, a couple of putts, and can shoot some great scores at club level. So I think it's always that little bit of glimmer of hope for all of us. Actually, why can't next year be this season? Why can't it be the year that I get down to 9 or get down to the scratch or break 100?
Matt he has by the end of the year to get down to scratch where he owes me £100.
No way, you've got 100 quid. I'll pay that bet out now.
Matt, say that again.
Matt said at the start of the year he's going to get down to scratch. So I said, right, 100 quid. I don't think you'll do it. And he's only got a few months left.
You know why
He's not going to get down.
You know what that is with Matt, and we'll talk, obviously you'll hear this podcast, I'm sure. I think with golf, there's two ways of getting better at golf. There's the actual technique of hitting the golf ball better, and therefore your scores get lower, which you can do quite quickly. But then there's that learning how to play the game. And although Matt's played for a while in spits and spats, I don't think from what I've seen, he's at that point now where he could have the head of a scratch golfer. But maybe he could in a year or 2 years or 3 years.
Definitely.
It's tough, isn't it?
Great.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. See you all soon.